Hey there! So every time you take this snack break from college, have you often wondered why all these fast food chains are American? So today let me bring you an inspiring story of an entrepreneur who set up an Indian fast food chain, Jumboking. I'm sure many of you have gone there and had those delicious vada pavs. But before we invite Mr. Gupta onto the show, I want to remind you to press that subscribe button and that bell notification button next to the subscribe button, and like us at Facebook at ChetChat101, at Twitter at ChetChat101, and at Instagram at ChetChat101. And let me quickly now invite Mr. Gupta onto the show. So Dheeraj, welcome to ChetChat, and thank you so much for getting us into this lovely office of yours.
Thank you, Chet. Thank you for coming over.
And thank you for the time. I believe you ran 15 kilometers this morning.
Yes, preparing for the Mumbai run. Yeah.
Fantastic. Tell us, a lot of our viewers watching the show are young and they're thinking about, hopefully being in your shoes one day. But when you were of their age, roughly, when you were a teenager, what were the thoughts going through your head? What did you want to be?
Wow. So, it was more of choices on what to do, whether to do. At those times, the choices were limited. So whether to do a BCom or a BA or a hotel management, which is what I opted for, was something which was, not the choice most of the people would take. But then we come from a family of restaurateurs.
Right.
And that's how I took hotel management. And, people would say, "Acha, tum bawarchi banoge." So, those kind of weird things of coming from a Marwadi family. So, but anyway, I think, so I was a little, I wouldn't say headstrong, but I said that, no, this is what makes sense. I'm going to do it. And in fact, I also had a choice to go for my MBA to the US. So I took the weird choice of doing it in India.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can imagine your father saying that, no, let's go, why don't you go abroad? And me as a 22-year-old saying, no, I don't want to go abroad.
And what was the motivation?
Yeah, the reason was, if I have to do business in India, I want to do my MBA over here.
Right, so I can understand the context.
Yeah, if I go over there, they will talk stuff about... which may be more organized in the US, and then if I come back in India and try to do business here, I might get frustrated by the red tape with the bureaucracy. So I said, no, let me do it over here and let me look at how Indian businesses get built. So, it has been a series of very different choices.
But in hindsight, fantastic decisions.
Yes, I think so. I met my wife and I was doing my MBA. So, that was
great choice.
That was a fabulous decision, yes.
Absolutely. Another thing I wanted to ask you is, when you finished your MBA, you got into a little bit of the family business of, like you said, the restaurant business, the sweets business, etc. And you changed course from there to move here. So what happened in that time frame?
Yeah, so I did not get into the family business directly. They were in the mithai business. So I decided to set up a brand of my own in the mithai business. I had read a report somewhere that the entire Indian sweets business it's a $2 billion industry, and no one is doing anything about it.
Right.
Just after my MBA, I was down with jaundice, and so I got a lot of time to read books, and I read a lot of autobiographies of, say, Akio Morita, who built Sony, Sam Walton, who built Walmart, and Ray Kroc, of course, who built McDonald's, and Howard Schultz, who built Starbucks. So I think all of them went through the same journey of people thinking they were crazy, or that they're taking too much risk. And so all of these people, they had a conviction that, no, I think what I'm doing is going to make sense. And so they all have those lonely periods in the beginning, when no one seems to be trusting you or believing you. There's this fabulous author by the name of Al Rice and Jack Trout, who talks about focusing and how 80 or 90% of all brands have originated in the US. They take up a particular aspect of a product and they completely focus on that and build large businesses around it. To explain this better, like McDonald's, they did only burgers. Starbucks did only coffee. Subway did only sandwiches. Dunkin' Donuts did only donuts. So, I think these books really helped a lot, yes.
And so then you got into, you sort of moved out of you got into the sweets industry.
Yeah, so sorry, I was answering that question. So yes, so as I went in, then we realized that the product required a lot of R&D because the shelf life had to be increased.
Yeah.
It was an uphill task because it would require tons of investments in packaging, in distribution. I think the entire VC network and the PE network was not that great at that time.
Not tuned into that kind of.
So I had to therefore stop.
Okay.
And then I for a year, I just sat and did nothing.
Okay.
And guess what? I come up with the idea of branding vada pavs. So I think my dad must have fallen off his chair, and you were like, I sent you to do an MBA, and why can't you come up with a decent idea? What's wrong with you? First you want to do mithai, now you want to do vada pavs. And that's how Jumboking started.
But this is inspiring for the viewers, because taking time out, sometimes they feel they just got to keep running. So taking time out, thinking through what you want to do as a next step, planning something which conventionally people might think is not the right thing, but still going in it and saying, vada pav, perfect example of what. So Dheeraj, fantastic. You told us how you started with Jumboking, but I'm sure along the way you faced several challenges. So talk about some of the bigger challenges that you faced.
So top three, for when I look at it in hindsight, I think the first one was because I had this Al Rice in my mind, who said you have to take up one product and super focus and super specialize on it. When we did some research, we found out, or just general dipstick study, and we realized that vada pav was the single largest sold snack in Mumbai city.
Oh, nice.
And guess what? I'm not a vada pav fan.
Okay.
So I'm more of a samosa person. So I was like, oh my God, my category is not what is selling the most. It's vada pav, but that is what is selling the best. Yeah. So I said, okay, so it's going to be vada pav, the brand, which was completely against the grain, because even customers would come and say, it's sirf ek hi cheez hai. So we actually were lucky because we did a lot of simple stuff, like we wrapped the vada pav. But the college students immediately lapped it up. They said it's the same price, it's cleaner, so let us eat over here. The second part was getting the entire the suppliers in place, because we needed an exact size of the bread. So my bakery guy, we would get him to get into the regimen. We would penalize him for the smaller breads he would supply. So he smartly said, okay, let me not take a risk. Let me start supplying oversized ones. So we had to now penalize him for the oversized breads also. They said, you're crazy.
Make up your mind.
How can you penalize me for giving you an oversized bread? I said, see, my patty is the same size. When you go small or you go large, what is happening is the taste is differing, and people don't know why it is differing.
Perception changes. They feel that patty chota ho gaya.
Exactly. Patty chota ho gaya. And or they come and say, nahi, last time aapne bada diya tha, is baar, the product is smaller. Aap log abhi cutting kar rahe ho. So, and we had a volume of like 500 breads a day, and there were people around who were each of them buying 3,000 breads. So the guy would say that, sir, you're buying only 500 breads. So there is only so much that you can demand. The third part was that there was no team. It was me and a set of 4 people.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, and their education qualification of the most educated guy amongst the 4 was 6th standard fail in Hindi medium.
You're kidding.
Yes, it was just the 4 staff. Wow. And I had to get them to be in uniform, to say thank you. I now think I must have had some serious motivation to, be at it, do it day in, day out. We would start our day at 8 in the morning with a briefing. Okay, that today this is what we have to do. And then throughout the day, I would be jotting down points of where they were going wrong. I would not talk to them during the day. The next day, I would tell them, "Arey, Sham, tumne kal aisa kyun kiya tha?" Such small things. But what happened is they became such a well-oiled machine.
Yes.
It was. I think that's when the product really started, becoming better, because the service was better. So I think there were multiple challenges. These, are 3 real big ones that I can think of now.
And to me, the last one is so key, because we've done a lot of entrepreneurs on our show, and honestly, everyone that I've met has always said my biggest strength was the 3 friends who came with me.
Yes.
And when I'm looking at your business, you're doing a retailing business right till the end gate of the customer. You're doing customer service, and before that you're doing supply chain and production and marketing and branding and finance and logistics, and it's a whole lot of things to be doing alone.
Correct. Of course, my wife was there all along, so lots of moral support, and she took on the marketing and the branding part. Of course, we didn't have too many budgets to begin with, but things like, okay, Jumboking, what should the name, or how should the font should be, etc. And we chose yellow.
Yes.
We said, let it be a really bright yellow.
Yes.
Let the fancy guys come and, so my friends would tease, "Arey, Dheeraj, when we come to your store, we have to wear our glares and come." Oh. Because, it is so bright. I'm like, good. So the board is doing its job.
Absolutely. Now you tell them, now you can spot it from the other end of the road and come and have it.
Absolutely. Yeah. sometimes I go to colleges and I talk to students a lot, and why do an MBA or why do a hotel management? I said I was a disaster when I was hotel management. In my exam, we had to make 6 dishes in our final exam. I burnt 5 of them.
Oh.
The only thing I managed to save was boiled rice. It was impossible to go wrong with that. And I got into the food business. So later on, anywhere where I would get stuck, I had a professor in college.
Right.
I would go and ask, I need to do this with the product. Of course, they themselves would say that, are you the same Dheeraj? Matlab, you were not listening to us in class, but now you're asking so many questions. Similarly with the MBA.
Yes.
So my dean, he came home, when I told him that, sir, I have an entire library for myself now. And these are all autobiographies of people. So, thank you so much for introducing us to books.
Absolutely.
So, I think therefore education is extremely critical. It just empowers you with the right tools.
Yeah. And looking back, you seem to have had the perfect combination of like 50% food and 50% business.
Yes.
So,
our dean, he had sent us for Vipassana meditation when we were in our B school, and we hated him for that.
Yeah.
Ab wo baat samajh mein aati hai. Now we realize that he was actually trying to groom us for all the stresses in life and the challenges. Where he would always say, see, at the most critical time, the only thing you need to control is your mind.
So Dheeraj, tell us, looking back, do you feel there were any mistakes that you made that you wish you hadn't?
So I'm a huge optimist. So I just say that mistakes, they happen because it's just you learn a better way to do the thing. So every mistake it teaches us so much. For us, real estate was a very, very important part, and we were going wrong in some of the locations we were picking up. And some locations would do fabulously well, and I was like, the product is the same, everything is the same. Why did this one work and this one did not work? There's R. Sriram of Crosswords. So I went and I told him, sir, we are going wrong on the real estate selection part. He introduced me to this concept of a property matrix, which is, he said, okay, Dheeraj, how many stores do you have? I said, at that time we were at 12. And I said, and I'm not talking about the 8 which we shut down. So he said, no, those are more important.
What went wrong?
So he said, okay, so now let us put down 3 important parameters: the frontage and the junction and the competition analysis. Is there someone else? So he said, okay, now with these 3, go and plot each of the stores which did well and which did not do well and which shut down. So we came to a conclusion that it is the corner stores which have a double shutter which are doing the best.
Interesting.
And center stores with single shutter in very crowded markets are also not doing well.
Are also not
doing well. So he said that, that is where the entire science part is taking in on the property front. Can you imagine how beautiful when you are, all of 26, 27, these kind of mentors coming in and, explaining things to you.
And you're spot on in saying that if I didn't make that mistake, how would I even know that which one did work and which one did? So it had to not work for you.
Yes. So it became a way of life for us. So we've done crazy things on our product. We introduced a chole Jumboking, and we had a dal makhni Jumboking and Shezwan Jumboking, because we had to innovate around the product. Innovation has always been a very, very important part of what we were doing. I would love it. Maybe Rita, my wife, would say that nahi theek hai yaar. Our franchisees would have different opinions. We just say, okay, let's go to market.
Okay.
If it works, let the data speak. If it does not work, the data will speak, we will remove it. But let's not be scared of going wrong. Let us not feel bad if we thought through a product and it did not do well. So I think it was beautiful because we suddenly got rid of fear. We said, no, let us do it. And so that's where a lot of the risks were taken, and some paid off, some did not pay off. But at least when it does not pay off, we know that we learned out of it.
Sure. There must have been times where you were almost about to reject a product that finally went to market and did well too.
I think Shezwan Jumboking was a product which I did not like.
Okay.
And it people loved it.
Yeah.
They were really, really. And dal makhni was a product which I loved. I am a North Indian at heart, so ye to rahega hi. And in 3 months, it just got rejected by the market. People were not buying it. So we have something known as the crispy veg Jumboking.
Right.
And I'm like, you can't put tomatoes. I don't like tomatoes at all. So, but they said, nahi, sir, crispy veg mein dalte. Anyway, you are not going to eat it, so don't worry. So, let the others eat it. today that is our best selling product.
Oh my God.
So
see
I was
that,
like,
yeah. But there were there times during all of this that you said, I want to give all of this up and go into Vipassana?
there were moments when, I was younger and 29, 30, and my franchisees were much older than I was, right? So in a franchising system, it is pretty much like running a political party where people are going to have views. You'll always have a Modi, maybe doing work and a Rahul Gandhi pulling him down, and a Rahul Gandhi doing some work and someone else, pulling him down. So we have to live and thrive in that environment. So I think, those were the days when I would really feel, that not that, why am I franchising? Let me put up company-owned stores. So then I would not have to put up with, these kind of question answers. I think it was never of quitting. It was, no, this is not working. And I think what happened was Jumboking initially, because it was positioned very, very sharply. So we had a lot of underdog advantage. A lot of people out there saying that, boss, you better not fail. You have to fight McDonald's. If you fail, we are going to come and hit you.
Right.
So it was, there was a lot of pressure on.
Yeah. I remember I used to teach at some B schools a few years ago, and all the students wanted me to do a Jumboking case study because it was, for them, it was close to their heart.
Correct.
That, we want to know how homegrown fast food branded chain can do well, and they better do well, because
yes. There's a lot of pride around
my
that.
whole self-concept is dependent on that. Dheeraj, tell us this beautiful journey that you've had of setting up Jumboking, being an entrepreneur, going through all these challenges. How has Dheeraj Gupta as a person changed in all these years?
Living a life of your dreams where you're setting up thing. As in, it's like you get up every day and you have something to work towards. When I come to office, it's like, all full of energy. Aaj kuch naya karna hai. And this beautiful story of where at about 35 years old, we had a board and we decided to, get in a CEO in place. He was a young guy. This person I used to analyze after, 3 years when he left, and I used to think about it. His name is Karandeep Singh. He started with CCD as a trainee and then became a store manager, became a city head. Then he was heading Western Zone for them. And then he joined Jumboking as a CEO at the age of 32.
Wow.
And, very young, very aggressive, dynamic. And I remember after, I think the first 6 months, I gave my checkbook to him. I said, Karna, I don't need to sign checks. Tum dekh lo na, because,
that's how much faith you had.
It's because of that person. The level of ownership that he had was huge. And that's when I realized that even when he was a trainee, he would have had that ownership on what he was doing.
Right.
And I think that is what really defines people who are successful and people who are not. I just thought I should share this story where I think professionals or entrepreneurs, I think everybody, as long as you, just have that burning passion to really make a difference, to add value. I think success is something which, yes, there's an 80% chance you'll get it.
I think that was beautiful. And people watching the show, I know some of the youngsters out there, they really admire you. And they're saying, this homegrown fast food entrepreneur, I want to be like him. So they're sort of sending all their blessings into you. But is there a last word of advice that you want to give them out before we wrap up?
Spending a lot of time on building your vision of what you want to do. I think that is something which, if people can spend a lot of serious thought to. So like, what is our vision in Jumboking? When we started, and I would say 100 stores selling vada paos, people would laugh. They're like, acha, iska ek store chal gaya hai.
So
abhi bol raha hai 100
karega.
But when now we are just approaching our 100 store mark, so people say, okay, now how many? So while I say 1,000, they say, हाँ शायद हो जाएगा, let us not take him lightly. But in our mind, the figure is at 10,000.
Wow.
So but then that is what we are working towards. So everything that we do today is with that thing in mind. So I have nothing against McDonald's. I have nothing against Pizza Hut. But I'm saying, no, there has to be the Indian alternatives.
Sure.
And at some point, we will go and set up shop in the US.
Yes.
And like we welcome them, we will go over there and we will, do good work, not only appealing to the Indian audience there, but to the worldwide, the international audience.
Yeah, so we wish you all the luck.
Thank
and
you so
I'm
much.
very sure that one day when the 10,000 stores going to be opening, not very far from now, we'll probably do a chat show again to see what has changed.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chet.
Thank you for being with us. So thank you so much for watching till the end. And if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Mr. Gupta or you want to ask me, put all of them down in the comment section at the bottom of this video. And don't forget that subscribe button, the bell notification button, and please, please, please follow us at Facebook at ChetChat 101, at Twitter at ChetChat 101, and at Instagram at ChetChat 101. Happy watching!